Peace. Good morning. How you doing, family? It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency, and I will always thank you for being here. I will always show gratitude for you being and sharing in this digital space, because in this digital space is where we learn. In this digital space is when we build, and in this digital space is where we build. So good morning to you. Glad that we are able to see another day. Glad that we are able to be in another space that we can create a newness or increase our levels of success by being consistent. So today is today is good. Today will always be good. And today will forever be good when we put ourselves in that space to let us and even talk to ourselves to say, we got this. We're going to make it happen. We're going to build. All right, here we go. Peace. Good morning, Miss Salinas, and everybody out there in the podcast world. Again, like I will always say, if you're on Facebook, go ahead and share this live on your news feed. It's real simple. If you're watching it, go down to the bottom. It's either going to be on your left or it's going to be on your right. You're going to see the share. Click share. Put it however you want to put it. Either put it on your timeline or drop it in the group. Of course, drop it in the group is going to put you in a whole nother. It's going to put this lesson and this message in a whole nother program, because it's going to allow a lot more people to hear it, because today is really good. I really like today. Peace. Good morning, Trisha. How you doing? All right. Here we go. Today we're talking about controlling the controllable. Controlling the controllable. A lot of times we put ourselves in certain states, or we put ourselves in certain positions and situations because we're trying to control everything. We're trying to make things happen, but you can't always make things happen because you can't control it. Just like if it rains, you can't control the rain, you can't control the weather, but you can control what you do when the rain comes. You can control what you wear during the storm, but the storm is the inevitable. But what you do in the storm is what you have the ability to control. All right, we're talking about controlling the controllable. So I'm gonna tell you a quick story. Controlling the controllable. So the first program that I've ever done, I guess in my life during my adult years, was I created a program in Hawaii. Those who've been to Hawaii, on the leeward side of Hawaii, in this area called Makaha, or in the Waianae area, I had a vision that I wanted to feed the homeless. But in order to feed the homeless, you got to sit in front of this council. And my sister was actually with me that day. And here I am sitting in a chair. My sister is sitting in a chair behind me. And in front of me is this panel of, I don't know if they were city council people or whatever. They were like the gatekeepers on this side. And they're like, okay, why do you want to feed the homeless? Why do you want to do this or that? And I was like, I just want to do it. You know, having the attitude of, I have to do something about it. I can control my attitude. And one of the things that I had to look at was, I have to figure it out, because it was like, okay, do you know how many homeless families are over here? I didn't know. I didn't know how many homeless families was on that side of the island, but I knew what I wanted to do. And I was like, okay. So after they say, okay, we're going to allow you to do it, I had to change my attitude, because I got nervous. And my sister was like, okay, well, how are we going to do it? I was like, shoot, I don't know. But I had the attitude in knowing what I wanted to do. And then we began to go around and spread that attitude to other people that understood the nature of what we wanted to do. And we started to reach out to the food bank. We got this soul food restaurant on board to cook the food. And we got a lot of other people to bless us with books and hats and clothes and all of this stuff. But I only had about $100. And I was in between travel. And you can look this up if you want. It's if you're going to Google it, Google Ronnie Russell Reach and Hawaii, and then you can see the story yourself. And with only $100, my attitude of servitude, my attitude of being a servant actually began to exceed the altitude of the expectations that they placed on me. I can control my attitude, but I couldn't control the altitude or the attitude that was in the room, because this was my first time doing it. And it was like, well, you just make sure that you're able to feed everybody. And I'm like, okay, I can't change your attitude, but I can change mine. I can maintain mine. And when we begin to change our attitude on how we were going to do it, we were able to feed 100 families. Literally, we was able to feed 100 families. There was a long line of homeless people, and they got clothes, they got food. There were still pallets of food left to begin to donate further down the island, but we had to change our attitude before we can ever exceed the altitude of the expectations that they placed on us, only because we changed our attitude. So going through the definition of controlling is determine the behavior or supervise of running things. As you can see with the highlight of the white word, controlling or your things that you can't control is a determined behavior. I can determine how I want to behave because I can control that. I can monitor my behavior, but I can't control your behavior, but I can control mine. I can determine on how I want to be affected or unaffected by what you do, because I can control my attitude. And supervising and the running of, when you begin to understand that you can supervise your thoughts, you can supervise your actions, you can supervise your response and how you respond to people, again, that is controlling the controllable. And this definition I like too. The next definition of controlling is to take into account factor that might affect the results. You're going to have to take your accountability into how you respond to certain people, because you did not control or maintain that controlling over yourself, maintain that controlling over your thoughts. Control the controllable and take into account and be accountable for the things that you know that you should be in account of, which is yourself. Stop trying to force people to do things that you know that you have no control over. So control the controllable. All right. Again, this is attitude and altitude. Maintain your attitude. Control your attitude, and you will begin to soar. You will begin to elevate yourself, because you can control your attitude. You can control how you speak to people. You can control how you respond to people. You can control where you go. You can control where you walk away from. You can control who you walk away from. And when you understand those things, and you understand that you are the true master of your fate, and you are the true master of your attitude, you will begin the process of soaring, or you will begin the process of changing your altitude, only because you knew that you can control your attitude. All right, the next thing is influence and impact. And I had to use this image again because it spoke volumes, even with this, kind of like we used yesterday. Influence and impact. You can control what influences you. You can control the music that you listen to. You can control the movies that you watch. You can control the places that you go. Because again, you don't have to go there. You don't have to watch that movie. You don't have to watch that listen to that music. So you can control what influences you. And when you control what influences you, it will create an impact on your life. You will be able to learn the lessons by what influences you to do good or bad. So control what influences you. And when you do that, I guarantee you will live a much more impactful life, because you're very cognitive about what you put in front of yourself, what you put in front of your face, or what you put in front of your families and things like that, because you have to understand that the influence is important to the impact. Control where you go and what you see and what you do, and how those things affect you by how and who influences you at the same time. All right, number 3 is discipline and dominion. Be hard when I looked at it, like, man, discipline and dominion, because when you understand that you control your discipline, you control, if you're working out in the morning, you can control the disciplines of the food that you want to eat, the diets that you want to take, or the amount of the pages that you read. All of those things, being disciplined, actually gives you dominion, which is authority, actually gives you dominion over your health. By being disciplined in what you eat, can give you dominion over your health by exercising and being disciplined in exercising overall. So be disciplined, create the discipline. You can control how disciplined you are, and it will give you the authority to master the dominions that you find yourself in. So discipline and dominion, you can control the levels of discipline that you are and what you have for yourself. Now, this one I like. And if you understand this part, this just really hit home. And finding this graphic, I was like, oh man, this graphic just fits perfect with it. Commitment. You have to have a level of commitment. You have to understand that I am committed to being a better me. I am committed to being successful. I am committed to this journey. I am committed to the process. I am committed to success. And when you are committed to those things that you can control, it will create consistency. As you can see, when you decide to be committed, repeat that process, and the repeating of that process creates consistency. So make the decision to be committed to where and what you want to do and where you want to go, and wash, rinse, and repeat that process will create that consistency. So decide to be committed, and you can control your consistency. It goes back into the podcast. Of course, this podcast name is Consistency is Currency. And I was listening to TD Jakes this morning, and he had said something which was definitely in line and on board with what this is saying right here. If you, like this dartboard, if you throw darts consistently at the board, eventually you're going to what? Hit the bullseye. Eventually you're going to cash out. Eventually you're going to figure it out. So you can control your consistency. You can control how many times you're reading this passage, or how many times you're studying this lesson, or how many times you work out a week. And eventually you're going to cash in. Eventually you're going to see the results. Eventually you're going to hit the bullseye. So you have the ability to control your consistency, and sooner or later it's going to cash out. It's going to work out for you. But you have to understand that you control your consistency and how often and how many times you do it. And this right here was inverting the word controllable. And I want you to know that you are able to control the controllable. You are able to control your commitment. You are able to control your thoughts. You are able to maintain and manage your emotions because you have the ability to control the controllable. And as you can see in the imagery right here, when you are empowered, when you are impactful, when you are standing upright, that's going to put you in a position to where you're going to get bigger and better and stronger because you are able to control the controllable. And this is an honorable mention, beliefs and beliefs. You control your beliefs, but you can't control other people's limited beliefs. You can control how you see yourself, but you can't control how other people see you. But I want you to believe right now that you have the ability to grow. You have the ability to stand up. You have the ability to empower yourself. And when you understand that when you control your beliefs, even when you acknowledge that that is a limited belief, I want to begin to change and alter my limited beliefs into changing my beliefs to say that I can do it, I will do it, and I must do it. And I want you to begin the process of that, because the thing that you need to know is what? That when you change your shoulds into must, I guarantee you, you will get a lot more things done. So stop talking in that shoulda, coulda, and transition that should into must. And when you transition that should into must, you will get a lot more things done, because that is the things that you can control. You can control your must just like you can control your should. But when you activate your must, you will begin to break away and separate yourself from your shoulds and your coulds and walk through the door of must. And then you will get a lot more things done, because you have the ability to be accomplished when you are consistent, and you will hit the bullseye to create those currencies. All right. Hey, you guys be blessed. Those things that resonated with you, go ahead and put it into the comments so we can begin to create this digital dialogue, because the things that you might have seen, someone may have not thought about it or seen it from that way. Because again, you can control how you communicate, but you can't control how other people respond. So control the controllable. Peace.